Hello students, this is the continuation of the first chapter, The Lost Child, written by Mulgraj Anand. This chapter is from your supplementary rater in English for class 9. The name of the textbook is Moments. We will continue the story. In the first video we had seen the child being attracted by the roundabout, right? And he wanted to sit and enjoy, and enjoy like the man, woman, and the children. So he made a very bold request, requesting to his father and mother that he wanted to go on the roundabout. Okay, now let us see this. The continuation you will find in page number 4. There was no reply. He requested, but there was no reply from his parents. So he turned to look at his parents, but they were not there. And ahead of him, he turned to look on either side. They were not there. And he looked behind. There was no sign of them. So he was with his parents, but at this time, when they reached that roundabout, when he requested very boldly, he could not find his parents. He turned, on the other side also. He looked here and there. He looked behind, but there was no sign of his parents. Then he got scared, He was scared and he cried out. A full deep cry rose within his dry throat, and with a sudden jerk of his body, he ran from where he stood, crying in real fear. Now you see, the child was so frightened. It was a very big fear where it was crowded. There were many people, and he didn't know them. And he came with his parents, but his parents were nowhere to be found. So the child got so frightened that he cried out, He cried out in real fear. And he started to run, He started to run. He ran from where he stood, which means he was standing there, and from there he ran, here and there, searching out his parents. Father, mother, tears rolled down from his eyes. He was calling out his parents. Hot and fierce, his flushed face was convulsed with fear. Panic-stricken, he ran to one side first, then to the other, hitter and titter. Hitter and titter means here and there, in all directions, knowing not where to go. Mother, father, he wailed. His yellow turban came untied and his clothes became muddy. So this was the situation of the condition, the condition of the small child. So he didn't know where to go. His parents were nowhere to be seen. So he cried out. He ran here and there. He tried to find out his parents, but he could not find. He called out very loudly his father and mother. He wailed, he cried, he was wearing a turban on his head, but his yellow turban also came untied and his clothes became muddy. So that was the condition of the child. So the child was so much scared. He was scared. Now he got lost in the fear. Having run to and fro in a rage of running for a while, he stood defeated, his cries suppressed into sobs. A little distances on the green grass he could see, through his flimsy eyes, men and women talking. He tried to look intently among the patches of bright yellow cloths, but there was no sign of his father and mother among these people who seemed to laugh and talk just for the sake of laughing and talking. So this child now got lost in the fear. He didn't have any idea about his parents. So having run to and fro in anger and in fear, he could not get his parents. So he stood defeated. So he thought that he will not be able to find his parents. So what he did earlier, he cried out very loudly, but his cries suppressed into sobs. Sobs means crying without crying with a low with a low tone, not with a shrill voice. So his cries suppressed into sobs. And a little distances on the green grass, which he could see through his flimsy eyes, he could see man, women, they were talking, and They were laughing, they were talking in the fear, but he could not find his parents. Filmy eyes means full of tears. When the eyes are filled with full of tears, the things cannot be seen clearly, right? So this is what it means. Okay, so the child was crying and was sobbing. Okay, the child was sobbing, and he saw, okay, he looked around and he saw man and women, okay, children, they were talking and they were laughing. So he tried to look intently among the patches of bright yellow clothes, okay, but there was no sign of his father and mother among those people, thinking that he would be able to find his parents. It might be like his parents might be wearing bright yellow colors, okay, and so seeing that colors, okay, he tried to look at them intently, but he could not find his parents. So next, what the child did was that he ran very quickly again, and this time to a shrine to which people seemed to be crowding. So this time he ran quickly to a shrine. Shrine means temple. Okay, temple. Many were gathered there. So he thought that his parents will be in the temple. So every little inch of space here was congested with men, but he ran through people's legs, his little sob lingering. Mother, father, near the entrance of the temple, however, the crowd became very thick. Men jostled each other, heavy men with flashing, murderous eyes and heavy shoulders. So he ran very quickly to a temple, hoping that he will get his parents. Every little inch of space, okay, there was full of men. Congested means full of, okay, full of men. But being a small boy, he ran through people's legs. His little sob lingering. He was crying, okay, he was sobbing. He was calling out his father and his mother. And near the entrance to the temple, okay, the crowd became very thick. Men pushed each other, and there was a heavy man, okay, and heavy man, okay, that man had a very flashing murderous eyes. Why it is written here flashing murderous eyes? Because the child is very scared. It is talking about the fearness that the child has. Okay, so the child is lost and he is so scared, he is afraid, okay, he has a lot of fear. So seeing those men, okay, a heavy man, his eyes, okay, heavy man, that his eyes seem to be flashy murderous eyes, and heavy shoulders. Heavy shoulders means very large and heavy shoulders. Okay, so he tried to get inside the temple, but the poor child struggled to thrust a way between their feet, but knocked to and fro by their brutal movements, he might have been trampled underfoot had he not shrieked at the highest pitch of his voice, "Father, mother." So the poor child tried to enter the temple. Okay, he struggled to thrust. Thrust means push, okay, push away between their feet, but knocked. Knocked means hit to and fro by their brutal movements. The people, they were pushing one another, right? So he was knocked, okay, to and fro by the brutal movements of those people, the crowd. So he might have been trampled. He cried out very loudly, okay, in a very high, in his highest pitch of his voice. He called out his father, mother, okay. Otherwise, if he had not done that, he would have been trampled. Trampled means crushed, okay, crushed underfoot. But he cried out very loudly. And then there was a man, okay, in the surging crowd. Surging means powerful. Why it is powerful crowd? Because just in the temple, okay, there were many people, okay, many people. So that is why it is written as surging, that is powerful. So a man in that crowd heard his cry, okay, and he bent forward, bent down, okay, with great difficulty, and he lifted the child up in his arms. And that man started to ask him, "How did you get here, child? Whose baby are you?" The man asked as he steered clear of the mass. The child wept more bitterly than ever now and only cried, "I want my mother and I want my father." So the man asked the child whose child he was, but the child did not reply anything. The child just cried, okay, wept, and he said that he wanted his mother and his father. So the man tried to comfort him. Soothe him means comfort him by taking him to the roundabout. And he asked him whether he would want to have a ride on the horse. Do you remember earlier the child wanted to sit on the roundabout, right? He was very much fascinated. So at this time, the man is offering him, okay, what he had wanted. But the child strode door into a thousand shrill sob, and he only shouted, I want my mother, I want my father. So the thing that he was attracted, okay, which had attracted him before, did not, he was not attracted with that, okay, anymore. What he wanted was just his parents. So he cried out without showing any interest towards the roundabout. He told to the man that he wanted his parents. Now let us see. You can see here there is a boy he is crying, and the man, okay, is trying to comfort him. So the man headed towards the place where the snake charmer still played on the flute to the swinging cobra. So he was taken there. Okay, earlier he was also he was attracted by the snake charmer, right? You can see in the picture there. So he was taken there. Okay, and the man told him to listen to that very nice music. Okay, but the child shut his ears with his fingers, and he shouted his double pitch strain. Strain means using a lot of force. Okay, he cried out very loudly, saying that he wanted his parents, his mother and his father, which means now the snake charmer has no effect on him. Okay, he was not interested at all. He just want only his parents. So later on again, the man took him near the balloons. Okay, do you remember earlier the child was so much attracted by the colorful balloons, right? So now at this time the man took him near the balloon sellers. Okay, so the man thought that the bright colors of the balloons would distract the child's attention and he will remain quiet. So this is what he thought. So he took him to the balloon sellers, and he asked him, would you like a rainbow colored balloon? He persistently asked. Earlier, he was so much attracted by the rainbow colored balloon. Okay, so at this time, the man asked him whether he would want that colored balloon. He was still crying. So the man thought that after giving that balloon, he may stop crying. That is what he thought. Okay, so he persistently asked. But the child turned his eyes from the flying balloons and he just sobbed. And he told once again to the man that he want his mother and he want his father. Now in the next page, okay, now the man still trying to make the child happy. He bore him. Bore means he carried him to the gate where the flower seller sat. Flower seller. Do you remember that? The gold mohor, the garland which is made of gold mohor. Okay, so the child was taken there. Okay, he carried him to the gate where the flower seller sat, and he said, look, can you smell those nice flowers, child? Would you like a garland to put round your neck? So this was the question asked by the man. The man is trying his best to let the child stop crying. Okay, so he asked whether he would like to have a garland, okay, to put around his neck, and he also told him about the smell, the fragrant, okay, the fragrant that the gold mohor has. But the child turned his nose away from the basket and reiterated his sob, I want my mother, I want my father. So at this time also, earlier he was attracted by this gold mohor and the necklace of gold mohor, but it has got nothing to do with the child. The child has no interest, he was no more attracted by that necklace of gold mohor. Okay, so the child turned his nose away. He was not trying to smell the scent of that flower. Okay, so he turned his nose away from the basket and he reiterated. He reiterated means he repeated again and the same thing, saying that he want his mother and he want his father. Okay, so thinking to humor his disconsolate charge by a gift of sweets, the man took him to the counter of the sweet shop. What sweets would you like, child? He asked. The child turned his face from the sweet shop and only sobbed, I want my mother, I want my father. So lastly, okay, the man took him to the shop, okay, where to the sweet meat seller, okay, to the sweet meat seller, thinking that, okay, if he is given sweets, Okay, it will make him happy. Okay, that is what the man thought. So thinking to humor means to make him laugh. Okay, thinking to make him laugh. His disconsolate charge. Disconsolate charge. Who is disconsolate charge? That is the child. Disconsolate means unhappy. Charge means the boy. Okay, the boy is now who is under the care of that man. Okay, so disconsolate charge is the a child. Okay, so in order to make the child happy by giving or by gifting giving him sweets, the man took him to the counter of the sweet shop. Okay, and asked him what sweets would he like to have. But at this time also, the child, do you remember his favorite sweet was burfi, right? He wanted burfi, but now he was no more attracted by the sweet. The child turned his face from the sweet shop and he only sobbed and he told him, I want my mother and I want my father. Okay, so this is the explanation of the story The Lost Child by Mulk Raj Anand. So here, what does it talks about? It talks about the importance of our parents. Nothing can be compared, okay, with our parents' love. Okay, all the things that has attracted us, okay, cannot that attracts us cannot replace our parents. Okay, so there is no one like our parents. No one can give us happiness the way our parents give us. Okay, so this story it talks about the importance of our parents. Okay, so this story is very simple. I hope you have understood the story. Okay, so thank you students for watching this video.